fine, yeah. I have an afternoon memorial service How are they connected to
Good morning. I'm Mike Michaud, and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees. And it's my pleasure to welcome you this morning. If you are visiting and would like more information about our congregation, please stop at the visitors table in the fellowship hall. We will be happy to answer your questions. We have a happy announcement here this morning. There will be an intergenerational holiday orchestra performing this year on December 18th. Players of all ages, abilities, and instruments are welcome. While the music will be fairly easy, it is important that you can read music. Rehearsals will be at church, right after church on December 4th and 11th. Contact Ross Miller to sign up or to ask questions. We always have a great time at these concerts. Also, if you haven't had a chance to complete the communications survey, now is your chance. Printed copies are available at the visitors table. This survey will close on November 1st. As we start our worship service now, please silence your cell phones. Again, welcome.
Good morning. I'm Lucy Iams, your worship associate. The words of Albert Schweitzer, "At times our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lighted the flame within us." This morning's chalice was provided by the Religious Exploration Program. It is indeed a hollowed out pumpkin.
Our opening words this morning come from Audette Fulbright Fulson, and I love them so much. She says, "Did you rise this morning broken and hungover with weariness and pain and rage tattered from waving too long in a brutal wind? Get up, child. Pull your bones upright. Gather your skin and muscle into a patch of sun. Draw a deep breath into your lungs. You will need it, for another day calls to you. I know you ache. I know you wish the work were done, and you, with everyone you have ever loved, were on a distant shore, safe and unafraid. But remember this, tired as you are not alone. Here and here and here also, there are others weeping and rising and gathering their courage. You belong to them, and they to you. And together, we will break through and bend the arc of justice all the way down into our lives. May we hold and nurture this audacious hope as we worship together. And if you would rise as you are able in body or spirit, we'll sing our opening hymn, number 103, For All the Saints.
I think there are children. I took my glasses off, so I actually don't know anymore. But good morning. My name is Tobin, and I serve as your director of religious exploration. Are there any kiddos who would like to come on up and share a story with me? If you are here, now is the time. Is that not how it works?
It's not how it's supposed to.
Hi, Izzy. I don't know if anybody can see you over there, but hi, Ben. Hi, Perry. Can you all hear me okay? All right, awesome. How are you? So I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm wearing a mask. Yeah. Can you imagine why I might be wearing a mask? You have an idea? Why might I be wearing a mask? Okay. Tomorrow's Halloween, exactly. Ben? You completely lost track of the days. Well, luckily, Perry's here to remind us that tomorrow is, in fact, Halloween. Since masks are optional now, I'm going to take mine off. It's a little hard to see what I did there. It's a little hard to see. I have a story today. So there's another holiday, one that helped inspire Halloween. And if you look on the screen up there, you can see it. It looks like it would be pronounced Samhain, but it is not. It is pronounced Samhain. And it is a pagan holiday. Does anybody know what pagan means? Pagan just means like outside of the normal. Often in the Christian days, it was sort of considered a not, it was the not popular, the not cool belief. And it was sort of an earth-based, it was one of the most original religions. And they were folks who believed in kind of magical things. So this is a story about Samhain and what it means and why we celebrate it, and a little bit about how it got started. So I'm going to have you look at those pictures up there since mine are kind of harder to see. So this is called Learning About Paganism, Samhain with Granny Hulda. What is Samhain? Samhain is a holy day celebrated by pagans around the world. It is celebrated halfway between fall and winter. At Samhain, leaves fall from trees. Change is happening. Samhain symbols remind us that we do not live forever. Death is a normal part of the cycle of life, just like being born is. Samhain is a powerful spiritual holiday. We celebrate the people that have passed from this life. If you look up there, it kind of reminds me of another holiday. Can you all think of what that other holiday is? I see you shaking your head, Izzy. Do you know? Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead. As the earth changes from summer to winter, plants die. Birds fly south for the winter. Some animals go to sleep for winter. Bears, skunks, and bats hibernate. Squirrels and mice snuggle into their nests. A lot of fairies also hibernate. Granny Hulda has put her garden to bed for the winter too. The Witch's New Year. Samhain is sometimes known as the Witch's New Year. The Witch's New Year is a time to create magic spells and potions. Witches meet up with other witches at Samhain to create more powerful magic together. Samhain marks the end of the harvest, and that is something to celebrate. There are many ways to celebrate Samhain. Samhain is a good time to make a memory table for loved ones who have passed away. Decorate it with pretty objects and photos. Granny Hulda likes to celebrate Samhain at the nearest full moon. Granny Hulda celebrates Samhain by making a list of changes she wants to make in her life. She burns her list in a Samhain fire. Samhain is a good time to make a list of things you want in your life. Granny Hulda also makes a list of books to read. Winter is a good time to dream. Granny Hulda will have lots of ideas for her life by the time spring comes. Samhain is a good time to make crafts. Granny Hulda likes to carve a pumpkin and make other Samhain decorations. Granny Hulda also makes tiny fairy beds at Samhain. She hides them around in the yard so that the fairies can use them during the long, dark winter. Granny Hulda takes a walk in the cold autumn air and sings a goodbye song to summer. Blessed Samhain. Well, thanks, everybody. Now that we know a little bit more about Samhain, we will be sung out to our activity in the back, where the Mass will also make more sense. So please join us in singing our children out.
Good morning. I'm Julie Dahmer, Pastoral Care Associate. For Joy's today, Betsy Roper had her second knee replacement. All went well. She's recuperating at home and is grateful for all the love and support from UUCB. Tom Rumpf writes, "The sun and earth continue on their orbits and the days grow shorter. We look forward to the winter solstice and and the turn towards spring and renewal." Sorry, Tom. Enjoy the season. Yes. For concern, Susan Paluska had a fall and fractured her pelvis. She's resting quite comfortably at home. She would appreciate calls or visits. Please call ahead before visiting. Someone wrote, "Our hearts grieve with our sextons, Tony and Mary, who lost their son last week." Dear. Also, deep concerns for the anger and violence in our world that seem to be unleashed everywhere. The attack on a dedicated leader's husband epitomizes this, as so many other events do as well. And also, I don't know who wrote this, but prayers for strength and healing. Reverend Dr. Bob Bach, who is recovering from open heart surgery in Boston, and Matt Brown, who is recently diagnosed with MS and due to begin infusions to hopefully bring about remission. So if you're not attending in-person services and would like a joy or concern read from the pulpit, you may send an email to uucbjoysandconcerns@gmail.com. This address is up on the screen and in UUCB's weekly email. If you have a concern you'd like to discuss in private, please speak with a pastoral care associate. We wear light blue ribbons on our name tags and would be happy to listen and help.
Will you join me in a time of prayer and meditation? Spirit of life, who draws us together in a web of holy relationships, make your presence known with us and in us and among us. Remind us that we are not alone in history. Ignite us with the courage of the living tradition. Remind us that we are not alone in entering the future. Anchor us with patience and perseverance. Remind us that we are not alone in our times of grief and pain. Comfort us with your Spirit, manifest in human hands and voices. Remind us that we are not alone in joy and wonder. Inspire us to honor and extend the beauty we find in this world. Divine music of the universe, let our hearts beat in diverse and harmonious rhythms, cooperating in an everlasting dance of love. May we move with the rhythms of peace. May we move with the rhythms of compassion. May we move with the rhythms of justice. Source of stars and planets and water and land, Open our hearts to all of our neighbors. Open our souls to a renewal of faith. Open our hands to join together in the work ahead. So be it. Blessed be. Amen.
I'm reading a poem by Marge Piercy called The Low Road. What can they do to you? Whatever they want. They can set you up, they can bust you, they can break your fingers, they can burn your brain with electricity, blur you with drugs till you can't walk, can't remember. They can take your child, wall up your lover. They can do anything you can't stop them from doing. How can you stop them? Alone you can fight, you can refuse, you can take what revenge you can, but they will roll over you. But two people fighting back to back can cut through a mob. A snake dancing file can break a cordon. An army can meet an army. Two people can keep each other sane, can give support, conviction, love, massage, hope, sex. Three people are a delegation, a committee, a wedge. With four, you can play bridge and start an organization. With six, you can rent a whole house, eat pie for dinner with no seconds, and hold a fundraising party. A dozen make a demonstration. 100 fill a hall. 1,000 have solidarity and your own newsletter. 10,000 power and your own paper. 100,000 your own media. 10 million your own country. It goes on one at a time. It starts when you care to act. It starts when you do it again after they said no. It starts when you say we and know who you mean, and each day you mean one more.
for many people around the world, this is a special time of year. As we move this week into celebrations of Halloween, Samhain, All Saints' Day, All Souls' Day, Dia de los Muertos, and others, we observe what is referred to in Irish Celtic lore as a thin place. A thin place is where, or when, a place or a time, really, that the veil between this world and the next becomes, well, thin, more porous, when mystery is afoot, when we connect again to the spirits of those throughout the ages that we have loved and lost, and from whom we long for strength and connection. When we enter into thin places or times, we are acknowledging again that we belong in that sacred circle we were singing about earlier, that sacred circle of life throughout all time and space. All of the celebrations that I've named are rooted in our connection with one another. I don't know that I thought about it this way before, but most of these celebrations would be irrelevant if not for relationships of meaning. And so in that sense, these celebrations push back against the notion that any single one of us is ever alone. They reinforce the fact that we are held by an interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. So what I'd like to do today on this final week that we're reflecting on our theme of courage is to consider the collective nature of courage. Courage that applies and is called for not only of me on my own as an individual, but of us together. But first, a little Halloween story. When I was growing up as a small child in Southwest Missouri, my grandma Ruth had the best Halloween house ever. It was epic. Now, the current trend of decorating for Halloween in ways that could never be called subtle was not a thing then. I'm not sure when that changed or if it's just a feature of living in different places in the world, but 40-something years ago in Springfield, Missouri, my grandma's house stood out as unique. Every year, she put out the spiders and webs. She had several jack-o'-lanterns with all different faces on them. My favorite thing that she had was a ceramic tombstone that she made that had a little skeleton that popped up and down. And in those days, that was high tech. She would dress up every year as a witch, and in addition to the candy that she would hand out generously, she made a giant cauldron. I'm not joking. I mean, my memory may embellish things, but a giant cauldron of apple cider that would be cooking on the porch under a fire or over a fire. And she would hand out cider to the kids who were cold from having been trick-or-treating. All over the city, kids would be driven to my grandma's house as a destination. Now, there are a couple of things that I have to say about this. First, I am aware that my grandmother may have been engaging in cultural appropriation, spiritual appropriation. That is a very tricky thing at this time of year, especially. And what's also true is that I treasure those memories so much. It's complicated that way. And the point in telling this story is those memories, along with others, give me courage still. Every time I have the occasion to make a withdrawal from my memory bank about my Grandma Ruth, I am strengthened and encouraged. And when I think of all the saints who from their labors rest, there are so many more who do the same. Ancestral courage is a real thing. Indigenous peoples and communities of color in particular have taught us a lot about this. They have demonstrated better ways of intentionally being in relationship with the ancestors. When Rosa Parks was asked about her refusal to give up her seat on the bus, when they asked her what gave her such courage, she said, "When I made that decision, I knew I had the strength of my ancestors with me." There is a strength and a wisdom that we can gain from honoring and learning from our ancestors. And I mean ancestors in the familial sense, people that were related to by blood, as they say, and also in the broader sense, generations of human beings who have come before us. We could, if we wanted, take courage from the example of our ancestors. Now, let me be clear to say that I am not suggesting that our ancestors were perfect. They are not. They were not. They are not always laudable. Some of them have done great harm. They lived and struggled, and some of them tried their best and fell short of their own aspirations again and again and again, like us. They made mistakes. They were all limited by what they knew at the time they lived and by a lack of exposure to additional perspectives. And they showed us that life and love are resilient and can endure, and that we should not allow our acceptance of human finitude to make us apathetic about life. Quite the contrary, at times when we can be honest about the reality of human mortality, like during this time of year, we can choose to focus more energy on living the life we want to live while we have the chance. And that kind of living always takes courage. In these hallowed days ahead, I hope we might all consider the opportunity to draw near again to ones we've lost, people we've loved in a special way, perhaps. To think about, maybe, the best things they tried to teach us. Perhaps to try and forgive a little more what might still be getting in our way. To remember their hopes, their hearts. To say thanks if that's appropriate. But that's not all, you see, because I think this kind of reflection could lead us also into a more thoughtful practice in the here and now of intentionally giving one another courage, regularly and as a matter of course. The reading this morning from Marge Piercy is a favorite of mine. Now, Marge has long been an activist, and so her context, almost always, is that everything's not right with the world, and she wants to make it better. Some of us live in that place as well. In this poem, though, she speaks straight to the heart and the reality of so many progressive movements for change. Your own newsletter, indeed. It acknowledges that we cannot do the most important work that we are called to do by ourselves. Our vision, it's too limited. Our knowledge base is often too rooted in our own perspectives. Our interests may also be too selfish, to be frank. But as we move out and join with others in common struggle, we begin to see the power of our collective potential. And that starts, Marge says, when we learn to say we, and mean it. The very first Unitarian Universalist Association General Assembly that I ever attended was in 2019 in Spokane, Washington. And the theme that year was the power of we. And something told me to review my notes from that conference as I was preparing for today, and I'm really glad that I did. It reinvigorated some memories. I want to share just one of them with you. There was this moment in the business meeting, and probably some of you may have been in that room, but you've probably been to a similar kind of event. So thousands of people, business meeting. And I noticed that the youth assembly was kind of buzzing. The topic of discussion was a statement of conscience about democracy. And the youth were whispering to each other, some of them clearly agitated. And then after a spectacular demonstration of how absurd business meetings can get, oh my goodness, are we skilled at that? Well, it finally came time for people to speak to the issue. And I don't know if they planned it or not, but the entire youth delegation rose and walked and rolled and moved to the microphone together. It was a spectacular demonstration. It would have been courageous if only one of them stood at the microphone, for in fact, only one of them spoke at the microphone. Her words were powerful, and they made their point. But the fact that they were there together en masse amplified the power of those words in a way that totally laid bare the power of we. Friends, it would be advantageous for us constantly, but at least now and again, on a regular basis, to think about how we might both encourage and be encouraged by others. There is a power in our connection. There is a power in our relationships that we should not take for granted. The world is harsh sometimes and stunningly beautiful. It requires courage for us to stay true to our hearts in the face of fear. We need one another to support and sustain that kind of courageous commitment, and we can help one another. Now, you might rightly be asking how we could do that. And I imagine if we had a conversation, we could come up with a lot of creative ideas. I have only a few simple ones. We can tend to our relationships. We can be with one another when it counts. Just be there. We can invite others to join us when we think we might need reinforcements to sustain our own courage. We can listen well to others, carry their concerns as ours. We can be open to change. We can become allies in life's struggles. We can make it a practice to intentionally notice and name what we appreciate about other people. We can reflect back to our friends when they are feeling underconfident, the incredible gifts that we know they have. We can bear witness to life, all the ups and downs of it. We can remind one another that we are never alone. And I'll repeat this one because I think it's really important. We can be with one another when it counts. I look forward to learning more about your strategies and approaches because we are in this together. And we need one another's encouragement to keep going. I would like to end not only this sermon, but our month-long focus on courage by sharing with you another gem that I picked up at that UUA General Assembly. It's a courage chant, a little call and response, and I hope that you'll indulge me in singing it with me, because it'll be real bad otherwise. I believe that this is a traditional song with South African origins, but I'm not entirely sure about that. But here it goes, and I've put some words on there. So the first part is a call and response. I'll sing something, you'll repeat what I sing. And then there are other lines we'll sing together. So right now is just the learning part. So it goes like this, right? Courage, courage, my friends, and then we sing this together. You do not walk alone. We will walk with you, and sing your spirit home. You're advanced. That was just the learning, and you're already in it. So I want to ask you to sing it with me. It's a zipper song, so just Follow my lead, but let this one really sink in. Let this one really sink in. If you want to rise, you can, but if you want to sit, that's fine. Just be you and be in the song. Ready? Courage, courage, my friends, you do not walk alone. We will walk with you, and sing your spirit home. Justice, my friends, you do not work alone. We will work with you, and sing your spirit home. Patience, my friends, you do not wait alone. We will wait with you, and sing your spirit home. One more time, robustly. Courage, my friends, you do not walk alone. We will walk with you, and sing your spirit home. Let us go encouraged today with a commitment to encourage one another on life's journey.
This is not a trick. That was a treat. We are privileged to be able to offer of our time and treasure to the sustaining work of our church and of our generosity to the wider community. We have a Charity with Soul every month, and this month our Charity with Soul is the Gathering Place, which is just over there on Union Street, where people have a warm and inviting place to gather during the day from whatever place they have come from, whether it was a home, a tent, or a car, or the street. I invite you to be as generous as you can.
If you would rise in body or spirit as you're able, we'll sing our closing hymn, 1020 in the Teal book, Whoa Ya Ya. You may be seated. And we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but together we know we will. Take heart, take courage, and go in peace.
Greet your neighbor.